Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. It's Shelby with Tyler, and we're Twinkies because we're Big 12 champs in softball for the first time in school history. It was so hype. We were both there. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to let you relive it through us if you weren't able to be there. We'll share all of our favorite moments. The celebration was special. It's something that I hope we get to experience again, but the first time, it's never going to be the same. Never as organic as that was the other night. So that was really cool. Talk all about softball, how they got there. Tennis coming up here soon. We're recording it before it's happening, but by the end of the show, we're going to know where tennis is hosting. They are in the NCAA tournament. We believe it'll be here in Lubbock on Friday, so check your schedules, but that's what we believe is about to happen when that gets announced here at any moment, to be honest. We'll keep you updated as the show goes. Basketball. Women's basketball has now added 2 people since we talked last. One we've already done a video on. Another one just got announced today. We'll talk a little bit about her, then do a video at some point on her for you guys. Men's basketball added one more player. They might calm down a little bit. Got a really big piece back in Jackie franchise. And all the rest of the stuff that's going on in Texas Tech sports. We'll cover it all. But the big thing today, Tyler, is Big 12 champs in softball. Let's go.
So hype. So happy for this team. First Big 12 championship in school history. Really, everybody had to contribute against a really great Arizona State team to get there. And I'm just super proud of them. And as everyone was saying, it was pretty impressive that we had, 4 games left and we already won the title outright. That's pretty insane how that happened. But it worked out really well for us. So I'm very happy. Vibes are really high right now, and this group will continue to keep making history, hopefully.
Yeah, it's really cool what they did. It's not easy. I know a lot of people get caught up in the NIL of it and the revenue sharing and all that stuff to come. But I don't care what happened. I don't care the caliber of players. We all know how good Naja is and all that. It's not easy to turn around a program with all these new people, a lot of them being freshmen at that, in the first year. Right? You have Oklahoma State, who's continually at the College World Series every year. You have Arizona, that's one of the stalwarts, blue bloods of the sport in this conference still. I get Texas and OU left, but Texas Tech wasn't picked to win the Big 12 for a reason, even with Naja and all these new people. And they did it. And they did it in dominating fashion, like you said. It's been wrapped up, it feels like, since they beat Arizona last week. It was a formality. They just needed to find a way to win 2 games in the last 6, and they went ahead and did that this weekend. So let's talk about it, and then we're going to show you video. We got highlights from the first 2 games. We got highlights from the celebration that we'll sneak in here possibly, and all the good stuff. We'll talk all about it. So Game 1, Tyler, what do you remember from Game 1? Give the people the breakdown.
What I do remember is that for the little part that I did go for it, that we weren't scoring, was the pitch. It was a pitching duel, but it wasn't even Kinsey Brown that was in the circle. It was some other girl that was giving us a hard time. And then I leave, and then we just go ham on the bats and the balls, and we're hitting all these home runs and all these things, and it's great, and we're living life. So I was bad luck. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I forgot you had to leave. So yeah, but no,
yes.
It's okay. Tyler had to work, But Game 1 was in hand by the 3rd inning. Right after Tyler left, they scored 6 quick runs in the 3rd inning. You kept the defense down. You kept Arizona State from scoring while you were there, though. A big part of that was Naja, of course, as the best pitcher in the land, was in the circle that day. 4 innings pitched in total, only allowed 1 hit, struck out 5, had it well under control until the offense did the job in the 6th inning. He got a big 2-run double from Lauren Allred, and then a 2-run yaboom home run from Alana Johnson to really break that open, make it 6-0. Then we felt good about that, knowing it was a doubleheader. We might need her again. Took Naja out of the game. Chloe came in for the 5th inning. Naja went out there for 1 more inning, got 4 innings in. We didn't score in the bottom of the 4th. Then Chloe came in, 1, 2, 3 inning herself in the 5th. And then the bottom of the 5th, Tyler, was epic for so many reasons, right? So we get a base runner on. I think we have maybe get an out next in there somewhere. But there's somebody on base, and one Demi Elder steps to the plate. Not a lot of drama going on otherwise because it's 6-0. We know we're probably winning this game. But you get 8 runs in softball by the end of 5 innings, it's a run rule. Game over. We don't got to play the last 2 innings. Save our pitching for the next game, which is important because it's a doubleheader. Demi Elder walks on up there. Senior. only player in this program right now that's been here all 4 years, right? She has been here through 3 different coaching changes. She's seen ups and downs of it, had a smile on her face the entire time. Just plays the game with a lot of joy. We love Demi Elder for a reason. She's had a lot of clutch moments over the years. I was sitting next to someone and I said, if anyone was going to end this right now with a home run to clinch the first Big 12 championship in school history, because even winning the first game was at least a share of it, I was like, it would feel right if it's Demi Elder, the 4-year senior on the team. I pull out my phone, put down my camera. I was taking pictures of this, so I'm going to video this instead. As soon as I hit record, she swings at the same time. All I got is like her swinging, hits it, it's gone. And she comes around, they put a chain over her neck, she scores it, shuts down the game, and she won us the first Big 12 championship in school history. At that point, it was only a quote-unquote share of it, but we all knew we were going to get another win, and they did as well. So they didn't do a big celebration at that moment other than to celebrate Demi's home run and the moment of actually doing it, and they saved that for the second game. But just a really cool moment, and like, sports are really cool. We don't got to get too like deep on it, but also at the same time, like, sports are really cool sometimes. It's like a little bit of a microcosm of life, and we get to watch these athletes go through the highs and the lows of their careers, whether they probably like it or not. Like, some of them might not like it, but they're on that pedestal, so we kind of see them at their best in times and when times are tough. And so to know what she's been through and the program's been through, and she's been around for all of it, and she's like literally had a smile on her face the whole time, like just through all of it, for her to be the one to get to have that moment. I know I wasn't the only one. Everybody in the stands that comes to games all the time. I just heard from someone today that was like, yeah, we've been to like almost every game for 20 years at this ballpark. And so to see that moment and to see the celebration later was really special for a lot of Texas Tech fans, really special for Demi Elder, and special for the team for sure.
Yeah, it was just such a cool moment to see Demi finally, break through, get that home run, and for her to send her team to their first Big 12 title. It's just really special that got to happen and that she was the one to do it, because there was only 3 returners, and she was the only returner that was a senior, as you said, that's been there all 4 years. So just really, really, really cool moment, and I'm really happy that Demi had her moment probably of the season. Like, that's going to carry with her forever. You said delayed, not denied in the article you put out, so y'all go read that. But super cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. I hope someone tracked down the home run ball for her and got it back to her. She can frame it or something. Here are the highlights. We just kind of talk you through it, but now you get to see it. And these are from the NCAA account, so we don't always get to see both sides, but we actually get to see some of Arizona's moments. I don't know that they had many in this game. They'll have more in the second game.
Quickly, her delivery gets to the plate, and sure enough, a little Nyjah stomp to end the inning.
A little Nyjah stomp, indeed. She had her stuff working in this.
And the inning is over. I know there's a lot of dedication put into updating this website. I don't think that it's updated minute by minute, as that one is looped into left center field and will get down for the first base hit of the day.
Like I said, you're going to get to see Arizona State's moments as well. Now this is us.
That one gets away from Swan, and Davis is going to leak.
Here we go.
Easy peasy first run of the game. We'll take it.
Maya is fast.
Maya's had a great series again, just got on base. Had a little bad luck with the reviews and such. Umpires were not her friend, but she was always on base. Yeah, didn't even need to slide. I was concerned watching that. I was like, she's like letting up, jogging across. She had it under control. How about a freshman? Drives in run 2.
There we go.
Who was another freshman. Great start. Now we're getting into Lauren Allred's 2-run double right here. It was deep. It was almost a home run herself.
Love that.
And this was off their number 2 pitcher. They had seen enough. Now they bring in another pitcher after this. And Alana Johnson said, I don't care. She's like first pitch or something off of this. Or, well, I don't know. 2-2, I guess. But did this pitcher later in the bat just booms it.
There we go, Lana.
Same result. New pitcher out of almost hit the cameraman square in the head.
Johnson with home run number 7 of the year. And it's a 6-run third inning.
She's just cold-blooded. Like, she doesn't have much of a reaction either. I love it. And then Chloe came in. She was great. She was really great this whole series, to be honest.
For sure.
I think she pitched in all 3 games. It's just good to see her getting back, because she had a little bit of arm soreness there for a few weeks. We weren't getting to use her as much, but getting right before postseason play.
Johnson to right.
Alana Johnson again.
So consistent. I love that.
Yeah, she gets on base for Demi Elder, who we just talked about. We set the scene for her home run. This is her right here.
And all of that in just 36 at bats. The 1-0.
It was a 3-run bomb. Forgot that.
A 3-run shot from Demi Elder.
Aw, let's go, Demi.
She's sprinted around those bases. It's a fast home run trot. And that's the end of the highlights. So that was the squad. They win it 9-0 in game 1. Run rule of Arizona State. Again, a solid team. They very well are in the postseason if they handle business in Oklahoma City at the Big 12 tournament and win a game or two. They're a top 35 RPI team. We'll see if they get in there, but that's not a bad team at all, and you just kind of worked them in game 1 of the day. Then we jumped ahead. Not easy to do the emotions of this whole thing. You got 30 minutes to that was fun. Let's get ready to play another game. And hey, by the way, this time you're going to have to face one of the best pitchers in the country. Arizona State, smartly, a lot of teams that we play do this, save their ace for game 2, hoping that she could go against someone not named Nyjah on the other side and give her team the best chance to win. That is what happened. So Kinsey Brown started for Arizona State. She's first in the Big 12 in strikeouts, one of the leaders in the country in strikeouts, 6th in the country in ERA coming in to the game, 2nd in the Big 12 behind Nyjah. She's a good pitcher, and I'm just going to start this by, I was sitting behind home plate during some of this. Oh my God, she has some nasty stuff. It was 72, next pitch 52, not quite Nyjah movement or anything on those, the 72-mile-an-hour pitches, which is what makes Nyjah so special, but still, she's going gas to 52, it's dropping off, and I don't blame our hitters. They were having trouble seeing it because she's that good of a pitcher. The umpire was having trouble seeing it. Bless his heart. His zone was all over the place as well. And
Literally.
It was a bit of, it was a lot. It was a bit of a pitcher's duel, but it did start out with a little drama. Maya saw the ball well in her at-bat of this game because she hit a rocket on the first or second or third pitch of the game, right? First at-bat of the game against this girl. Gets over the left fielder. She tries to extend it into a triple. Looks like she does on the replay. A beautiful tag. Swims over the girl. But they called her safe. Arizona reviews it. Somehow, I never saw a review that showed her getting tagged, but I guess the umpires felt like she got tagged. Here's my thing on this. I think you could assume that maybe she got tagged before she picked her arm up, just by general physics. You could maybe make that assumption. But there was no video shot that showed that, and I didn't know you could make a call off of assumption. I didn't know that was a part of the allowance when it came to reviews, but apparently it is, and they overturned the call on the field. She was out. Jerry did not like this, y'all. Not one bit. Don't blame him, because he knew it was a big game. He knew what pitcher was on the mound. If we could have scored right there, that might have been a lot easier game, right? But ultimately, she's out, and that kind of ends the inning, and he's not happy, so much so he argues. I don't know what was said, but he got thrown out of the game. He's gone, has to go to his office down the left field line. Fans were hyping it up. They were going crazy for him when he was leaving.
Sweet Jerry.
The players were, cheering him on as well. Vic Valdez was, imitating the umpire, throwing him out of the game. It was hilarious. Vibes were high. And then Tara Archibald, our associate head coach, who was a head coach at Eastern Illinois before she took this job. Yes, the daughter of Jerry Glasgow as well. But she's a great coach in her own right, and so it was a luxury to have someone with head coaching experience in such a massive game, right? Yeah, we clinched the share of it earlier. We're going to clinch it eventually by winning another game. We all know this, but still, to do it at home, that they wanted to do that on Saturday night in front of that big crowd. You have to take over for your first time for Texas Tech in that kind of a game against one of the best pitchers in the country. And she stepped in and did a great job as a coach. And then it was just kind of back and forth from there. Defensive moments. Both teams were in and out of jams. Chloe thought this was Chloe's maybe best game of the year. Chloe Riasetto was in the circle for us. She was great. Really good. 5 and a third innings pitched in this. I think we ultimately took her out of the game with maybe a runner on base or something in that 6th inning and brought Nyjah in to close it, and they kind of changed, swap roles, because in the first game, Chloe came in to close it for Nyjah, and then Nyjah came in to close this one for her, and But she was great, and she didn't want to come out of the game either. I think you were there by then, and so maybe you saw it too. But when Nyjah walked out there, and I love this, she was like, did not want to put the ball into Nyjah's glove, and Nyjah was just kind of laughing. It was kind of jokingly, but like I don't think it was too much either, which you love to see from a competitor. And Jerry kind of echoed that in the sense that Chloe wants to be in those moments, and that's why he loves her as a pitcher. That's why he was excited when she wanted to come here. And he had a quote after this game, and he said, Chloe is a money pitcher. She's a big game pitcher. She loves the big moments, and she is made for those moments. Her and Nyjah together, it's just great. So it was great. So it was a big pitching battle. She was great. Nyjah comes in, does her job. Then we get to the 6th inning. It starts off, you're like, because we got out of our jam, you're like, all right. Because there was a wild sequence in that 6th inning. I guess we need to talk about it because Alexa Langeliers had a moment. So let me go back to that. They had 2 runners on, nobody out. After a collision at first base, they ruled her safe. That's initially when we brought Nyjah in during this review process. Well, in the review, they ruled that the girl went out of the base path, I think, to get to first base, ran over Alexa in the process, who stayed in the game, by the way, after getting murdered earlier in the game to get out as well at second. So she got in 2 different collisions, catching a ball that was a little out of the base path from whoever threw it to her on both occasions, went and got it, put her body on the line to get those outs. We probably don't win the second game for sure without her doing that, because it was a major moment. That call gets overturned. And then it's only 1 on, 1 out, and the runner's at first, and Nyjah takes care of that from there. So it was about to be second and third with no outs until they overturned that call. So it was a really big moment for Arizona State and for us. Shout out Alexa Langeliers' dog to make sure that she was in the right spot to give us a chance there. And then we flipped it over, and we're like, okay, we have the momentum now. We stole the momentum from then. We're going to score here. Let's go. Great at-bat from the freshman, Bailey Lindemuth. Squares one up, straight up the middle, gets over the pitcher, like, all right, we got a single. And then out of freaking nowhere, their second baseman, Superman, dives and catches the damn ball. Kudos to her. But I was like, what are we doing? Stop it. No, but it was a great play, and that was just like the game. It was a true postseason atmosphere. Defensive plays like that from both sides all game. So she stole this hit, and you're like, damn it. And then Alexa comes up there, has a pretty good at-bat. Great pitch by Kinsey Brown, gets her to pop up. Now there's 2 outs. You're like, all right, here we go. Gonna go to the 7th inning. Maybe we'll walk it off in the 7th inning or something, or we're going to extras. We'll see how it goes. No. Lauren Alderwood comes up there calmly, has a pretty good at-bat, forces her to hit her. Hits her little elbow guard, trots a little stuff on the first base. Then we had Alana Johnson come up. Jerry talks about her in the postgame on this at-bat. We'll get to that in a minute. Great at-bat. Gets a single down the left field line. We got 2 on. Demi Elder does what Demi Elder does, puts together a clutch senior-type at-bat, draws a walk. Bases loaded. For one, Reagan Jennings, the sophomore. Doesn't start. She's a sophomore. Alexa Langeliers plays in front of her at second base this year. But she was the starter last year for us as a freshman at second base. All Big 12 player. She's always ready this year. I think she actually leads us in batting average. When she gets in there, she usually gets a hit. And she was in this game from the start because they felt good about the matchup. And she's in that moment, steps up, 2 outs, 2 strikes, hits a single over the shortstop. 1 run comes in to score. You feel like that's probably enough. Big moment for Reagan to get that done, the game-winning hit. I believe then Valdez followed that later in the inning to put us up 3-0 and got it done. That's ultimately enough to win. But here's the quote from Jerry after that game on Reagan. Let me pull it up. Let's see. I thought I had it in here, so I'm lying to y'all. But you can just go read it in the article. Basically, I can paraphrase it. I know what he said. He said, basically, we had Reagan in the lineup on purpose that day because he feels like she's a big hitter. She's a clutch hitter. She has big hits all the time, but she hits the rise ball really well. Her and Alana Johnson specifically, and that's why he put them back-to-back in that lineup. He felt like it would pay off eventually, and it paid off in that inning. So he was giving them kudos for it working. It took a while, but that's what good pitchers do. We got there, and we're up 3-0. Headed in to the top of the 7th now. You're like, Nyjah's on the mound, or in the circle. We know we're winning this at this point. It's just a matter of when, where do you want to be standing when you watch the first Big 12 championship be clinched? at Rocky. Outright. You already saw them do it earlier in the game with Demi, or in the first game with Demi. This is the outright title. You're going to get to see them celebrate and all the fun. Where do you want to be? Everybody's on their feet, ready to make it happen. Nyjah strikes out 2, strikes out the last batter of the game, and the celebration just ensues. And I don't say I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it in Texas Tech sports because it happened at home and the way that it went down. Like if soccer had won theirs at home instead of Iowa State 2 years ago when they did that, it would have been a similar feeling. But the fact that it was at home and Rocky Johnson, they're celebrating. And then I said earlier, Jerry got tossed, right? So we're out there videoing them doing the Matador song, singing the Matador. Everybody got their guns up. We're on the apart. Everyone's doing the little thing. And then they all look over there, and you just hear them start screaming. What are they screaming at? You look down the left field line. Jerry's coming out of the left field gate with a trophy in hand, like a hero's return. All the players notice him. We abandon the Matador song, which is perfectly okay in this instance, and sprint over to Jerry, and they all kind of like celebrate around him as the Matador song is still playing and the fans are singing it in the background. It was just a really like amazing moment for the team, and one that you just couldn't like script those things. And it was just really neat. And they go through the celebration, and then eventually it was just media out there at first, and then family members started coming out to take pictures, which was awesome. And then fans just came out, and like nobody stopped them, and I loved it. It was just completely organic, and all the fans were on the field, and the players weren't complaining. They were like, "Yeah, let's go!" And they were coming out there, and they were taking pictures, and they were signing autographs, and I mean, it probably went on for like an hour. Like you were still working baseball, and I texted you, like we're like 15 minutes into the celebration. I was like, Tyler, where are you at? And he's like, oh, baseball just finished. I was like, get your butt over here because this is going to go on for a while. And so, yeah, I'll let you continue it from there. Like when you showed up, you got to be a part of like at least that part of the celebration, but it was really special, and I thought it was really cool that they allowed them to do it most of all.
Yeah, it was a super special moment, and yeah, shout out to Shelby for letting me know to get over there because I could get all my softballs and jerseys and everything signed, but hold the trophy, all the things that we got to do on the field. But I just love that. What I love most about this series is the ones that obviously who Glasgow brought in from Louisiana and our transfers, like they're great. That's what made us so great. That's what makes us a good team. They contribute to it. But my favorite part is just the returners really came up huge in this. Like the ones that have been Red Raiders for life, they decided to commit here when they were freshmen. And both Demi and Reagan both come up with clutch moments to get us to win the Big 12 championship and then clinch it outright. And I just absolutely love that. And then I also love the whole fact about kind of like the whole when men's basketball played at Houston and then Grant got kicked out. And then luckily we had Jeff Linder, who had coaching experience, come in and do it. I love that Tara got just a huge moment. I mean, first of all, Tara's 1-0, and her Texas Tech coaching record, I guess, technically. And also she was able to just really calm everybody down. We got to see her really work with Chloe even when things were getting a little shaky, and just absolutely just did such a great job. It was just such a cool moment. And yeah, like you said, like the first is going to be hard to beat. And it's just great to finally see how all this paid off in the end, right? We knew in the summer, like, hey, like we have a shot at this. We may win the Big 12. There's tough teams as in Oklahoma State, Arizona, maybe Arizona State, all these people. And then we just came up clutch in the end. And it's just so rewarding.
Yeah, I agree. Rewarding is the right word. We'll talk more about that. We got a clip we'll show you of them doing Raider powers with the crowd here in a second. But first, let's show you the highlights so you can watch
relive it.
Those big moments that Tyler just talked about. Yeah, when we explained to you. And again, this has Arizona State stuff in it too, but gives you the full effect. So this girl was good. You'll get to see how good Kenzie Brown is. If they make the postseason, there's going to be some host team that's not super happy to get Arizona State in their regional because she can just pitch every game at that point.
She had 11 strikeouts in this game, so putting up Nyjah numbers.
And they were nasty pitches. But Chloe was great as well. Yeah, started the game with a leadoff, and then I think she struck out 2 in this inning, though. So, no sweat. They didn't show up, but I'm pretty sure she got 2 strikeouts in the first inning.
Beautiful bunt.
nothing doing for
We
them
love
on
bunting
the
on
loose.
this
And
team.
look at Maya
They called her
Miller.
out. She was safe, clearly safe. You saw Coach Archibald lose her mind. She's like, no. I don't know if they're going to show it, but we win this challenge.
We want to get another look
Yeah, she's like,
that
look at
one.
this. People,
Led
you're
to him
blind.
getting tossed from another angle of it.
Clearly safe. Let's see if they show when win it, because Coach Archibald goes
It's
crazy.
very close.
Look at her. She's making the call. It's
I don't think
clear.
anybody got a better look at it than Tara Archibald did. She was staring right down the barrel of the play.
Safe.
Oh, she's so safe.
She didn't even tag her. She tagged the base. Watch out. Watch Tara after they call it. Okay, guys. Let's speed it up. Come on. Chop, chop. We got things to see. See if they showed her.
There we
She was,
go.
she was hyping up the crowd for a little while. She was hyped. They got out of it. It was tough because like that we end up loading the bases with nobody out in that inning. I didn't talk about that, but I don't think we had anybody out when we loaded the bases, and that's how good Kinsey Brown is and their defense. They got out of it, so we couldn't make the big hit or the big play in that moment.
Yep.
Struck out a couple of times with the opportunity to get people in because she's good, and that could have deflated us. They come up, and you're about to get to see this crazy situation. I'm just gonna skip ahead. Okay. Sorry. If they show it or not. So you can see. Oh, they didn't show it. So I had to explain that weird situation. But that's Nyjah getting out of it. She strikes them out because that's what Nyjah does. And now you get to see the fun. Reagan Jennings right here.
Clutch.
That's enough right there. Vic Valdez is going to add some insurance, but massive moment for Reagan Jennings. It's not easy. It's not easy to play the role that Reagan Jennings does on this team. She doesn't play every day, but every time she's ready, like every time I put her in the lineup or she pinch hits or whatever, it just feels like she does her job. She's not hitting home runs or whatever, but she, in that moment, I was sitting next to someone. I was like, oh, this is who I want up to be. We just need a single? This is who I want up. Reagan will put this ball in play. She will put the ball in play. And that's what she did. And she got it out in the outfield. So it's just not easy to be that person. She's not getting regular ABs all the time, and she still steps up and does her job.
A few bites at the apple to try and get the
Vic
one win they need.
is starting to heat up a little bit, especially with runners in scoring position. Great slide by Demi Elder, by the way.
Our senior.
Our senior. Let's go. I'm somewhere in the background losing my damn mind. I lost all bias, partial media in me in this game. I didn't care. I was cheering.
And now they're Big 12 champions. The strikeout from Nyjah Kennedy to end it. 18-2 in the Big 12 is Texas Tech. Nobody can catch them.
I love that moment with Nyjah and Vic.
Yeah,
Smiling so hard.
God, it was so cool. The whole thing was really cool, and we talked about all the family and the friends coming out, and I just kind of stood back, and like I was just like when you got there, like I was just standing where I was when you got there, and I was like, I'm just like staying out of the way because I just wanted to let them have their moment. I just thought, again, I thought it was cool that they allowed them to do that because I don't know, you could have like not allowed the fans out there. Maybe, I don't know if anyone could have stopped them from coming out there. And there's, sometimes people are like, y'all expect to do more than win the Big 12, don't you? You shouldn't celebrate this like it's whatever. And I'm like, that is such a dumb attitude. And I personally hope if we win 5 in a row at Texas Tech, that's a tradition. Like the same way that the men's basketball team welcomes the students on the court after every single win. Like, I think it would be hype that we win the Big 12 next year. It's just, that is a new tradition. Okay, we invite the fans onto the field, and that's a thing every year. But you're never going to be able to take away this one where it was the first time ever, and it just happened.
Right.
And no one knew what was going on. All of us were just like, I don't know what's going on. I even talked to their SID. I was like, are we going to talk to Jerry? Like, no rush. I'll stand here as long as I need to. Like, I'm not trying to rush him. I want to let him have his moment. But I'll just hang out here and kind of watch it. Took some video. It's on Twitter. You can kind of see everybody running around getting pictures. And I just thought it was really cool. You just don't see that very often. Give them a chance to soak in the moment. And they got it done. And then we did finally get to talk to Jerry probably towards about 45 minutes or so after the game's finally over. The celebration is still ongoing in the background. And he had a lot of great things to say. The full video is on YouTube. But he said, we won 5 in a row at Louisiana, but I never got to be a part of anything like that. He said, pointing at the celebration behind him. It felt like a dream to win the Big 12. All the fans here. It gives me chills thinking about this experience, being out there with the players and the fans all interacting. It's just special. It was a special moment. Again, this guy's won 5 championships before this. He's won over 300 games as a head coach in 7 seasons. Winning is kind of what he does. He's never lost a conference series. Like, these are things that he is used to. But he wasn't used to that. It was just a special moment. And here is the players celebrating, doing a Raider Power chant with the trophy after it was over. We'll show you this one right here. We didn't get to show you. That beautiful trophy.
Beautiful. It's heavy too. I don't know how Glasgow ran with that.
Yeah. Oh my God, it is heavy. We have to take pictures with it. That was the other thing. Is like we stayed a little bit after talking to Coach Glasgow. After everyone was still taking pictures, we were like, "Can we get a picture of the trophy? F it, we're gonna go get a picture with the trophy." So we did. And then I just was like, "I'm just gonna leave and let them. I just want to let them now hang out with their family and friends." But who knows how long they were there? But yeah, it was a really cool experience. The last thing I'll say on this game before we got to talk about Game 3 for specific reasons. Give someone a shout out in that one. But this is why investing in all sports matters. I get the financial implications in all the sports, and we're not going to get into that. But there were people just a year ago, not going to name names. We've talked about it. They knew who they are. I doubt they watch our show. Just a year ago this time, senior weekend a year ago, we were getting beat up by Texas, who was the number 1 team in the nation at that point. We were a solid team, on the right track, y'all. Headed for making the postseason, hopefully, for the first time since 2019. That team was doing great things. Those seniors were doing great things for the program. They stuck through a lot. It was really cool, a really awesome moment. We were celebrating them. We all knew we were up against it in that series. It was a tough series, though. I think there was a 20-0 game mixed in there. It was just what happens. That separation between top of talent and bubble team to get in the tournament is still pretty big in softball. But they were a pretty good team, and that still happened to them. But idiots on Twitter, elsewhere, were saying we should shut down the program. This is embarrassing. They didn't even watch the game. They just didn't want to see their school have a tweet with a score graphic that way. And they didn't want to have to hear from Longhorn fans about it or whatever it was. Bullshit like that. That same person that tweeted some nonsense like that was at this game. Because they tweeted about being there at this game and how cool it was and how special it was to be able to be a part of that celebration and to see that happen that we just explained. Same person. I'm not going to name the name, but they weren't the only person that was saying stuff like that. And because the investment was made, and to be clear, the investment in softball was already being made before this year. That's why they were on the right track. It just took up a notch when Snyder left, and that kind of spurred on a little bit of competitive spirit, maybe go out and get Glasgow. He brings in what he brought in and got even more support and more investment. And this is what happened. If you don't invest in the sport, if you just cancel the program like people wanted to do because they didn't give a shit or whatever, you don't get people now all of a sudden giving a shit and getting to experience how cool it is. You never get to have that moment. So I don't want to go off on a tangent, but that's why that moment was so cool. For people like that were talking shit, to have their mind changed in just a year and be like, wow, no, this is awesome. I'm so happy that we didn't not get rid of the program, but we invested in it because this was a lot of fun. And then even more so for people that have been there for 20 years, that person that I talked to today, going to all the games, highs and lows of it for 20 years. There's been a lot of those. Texas Tech softball has existed before that. We've had All-Americans. We've had records broken. We've made the tournament before. Right? It's just never been to this extent. There's been good moments. There's been tough ones. These people have been there for all of it. And they got to sit there and celebrate a Big 12 championship with the team and come on the field and experience all that. None of that happens if you don't invest in the sport and you just ignore it. I'm going to stop there. Tyler, say what you want to, and then we can go into Game 3.
Yeah, no, that moment right there where the haters end up loving the team, and we said all year we were the first ones on it. We're we're gonna do special things this season. The softball team says it's their shot at forever, and we knew they were gonna do things, and we just knew reading those tweets. We always say there's bigger things, and we knew that even though we were getting our butt kicked by Texas last year at home, we said things are gonna get better, and sure enough, things get a lot better. We turn it around. We make the right investments in it. I even think that even without, obviously Nyjah got us here with that. But, even if we didn't end up getting Nyjah, we still would have been a really, really good team. So it just shows how big the investment got, how big we took a big step into it, and it's and that's how you survive. That's how you're gonna survive being one of those top teams in the country. Today, Softball America ranked us number 10. We're back in the as a top 10 team in the country according to them. So that's just great stuff to see. Just the big turnaround. And yeah, you need to invest in women's sports. Like, they're like, oh, softball's not a revenue sport. Well, it can be a revenue sport. I'm sure like you get some sort of stipend or something if you win a championship, or surely, right? Like a conference, or I don't know how it all works, but I think that, this is great for the program. And now you have to think like, all right, now there's freshmen or there's seniors in high school, juniors in high school, whatever, that are doing travel ball. And now they're like, wait a minute, Texas Tech just won the Big 12 championship. And a lot of good softball players come from the state of Texas. We have really good ones out in West Texas. And now they're not like just, turning the shoulder to this program anymore. They're now like, oh, we want to play for Texas Tech. We want to be here now. And it's just going to cause this generational, like, powerhouse program thing. And then we will eventually become like the big ones. This is just the first step. So invest in women's sports. That's all I got to say, because it'll pay off huge.
In all sports. Like, obviously, we say women's sports because they're the ones that typically get the... But
right.
Men's tennis, men's golf, like, give them their equal proportion of whatever that is. And I understand budgets. I get that there's a budget. I'm not saying these sports should get the same amount of money as football or men's basketball, or even women's basketball gets a decent chunk, but not enough, right, to compete even. That's a whole other conversation. Don't get me started. But... like these other sports, there's a tier, and I get it. But everyone should get it. No one should be ignored, which is what some people want to happen right now. And if you ignored this sport, like some people wanted, and maybe still do, this moment never happens. And I'm telling you right now, I hate it if you didn't get to experience it and you weren't there in person. Hopefully, getting to watch the video, the team's going to put out an epic cinematic recap, undoubtedly. You'll get to experience from that. And you just get to feel pride in watching it, and the players get to experience it. People like Demi Elder, who's been through it, right, here, and has had 3 coaches. Because maybe the program was getting a little bit ignored at some points, if we're being honest. And then they decided to invest in it. And it started a couple of years ago, and then it took off again with this new staff. So it matters, and we can spend hours on that. But we have to move in to the next game, which, Game 3, they did lose it, but... this is what I want to say on that. Because of all this stuff we just talked about, I left my house on Sunday and I told someone, if they win this game, I'm going to be so impressed. Not because I don't think they're the best team, but because of what they just went through, right? Like, and for me, I'm not trying to give them an out or an excuse. They're probably upset that they lost, as they should be. They're competitors. I'm sure it's a learning experience to learn how to lock in or whatever. But you're never going to be in that situation again. Even next year, if they win the Big 12 championship again, it's never going to be the same as that was. They probably didn't go to bed till 1 or 2 a.m. I was just doing media stuff. I didn't go to bed till 1 by the time I got home, got pictures done, got the articles and all this stuff done, got everything loaded up and ready to go for the next day because they played at noon the next day. I'm not even going to bed till 1. They probably went out to dinner with their families. They're athletes. They're injured. They got bumps and bruises. They got to recover. They're getting home at midnight. Then they got to wind down. I bet they didn't go to bed till 2 a.m. And then they have to get up, warm up, if they have any injuries, get all that stuff, play a game at noon. I'm not trying to give them an excuse, but this time I'm giving them a little bit of an out. I was like, all right, cool. Not too upset at you guys. They did score first in this game, had a 1-0 lead, but they had a chance to really break it open in an inning after that. And I think a fresher, more 100% sleep, recovered, focused team would have broken it open in that inning, and it maybe would have been a different game. Instead, Arizona State ultimately came in and got a lead, and then they brought in Kinsey Brown, and she's elite, and we just couldn't get to her late in the game. But someone had a great game, and Brinley Gonzalez, who I haven't seen since like March 9th. I almost I have a Brinley Gonzalez shirt that her family sent seeing Scarlett when she announced her recruitment. They mailed it to us. I almost wore that today. I was like, oh no, I gotta wear the Big 12 champ shirt. But Brinley, I almost wore your shirt today because I was so proud of you and so hyped for you. She got out there and went 2 innings, didn't allow any earned runs. I think 1 unearned run, had a couple of strikeouts at least, and looked really good. We just hadn't seen her in a long time. Even caught a home run. Was not one of our home runs, but I saw you, Brinley, out there in the bullpen. She's warming up, and Arizona State hits a home run. Aware of her surroundings, just turns around casually, grabs the home run, and gets back to warming up in the bullpen. So she's a freshman, true freshman. from Aledo, but she's really from Lubbock, born here. So it was cool to get to see her. So that was my takeaway from Game 3 is I'm not holding it against them. This is a special circumstance. It's not even like the regional where you're like, well, they got to learn how to handle success. Because when they get to postseason, they can't be overhyped. No, in postseason play, they're going to win Friday night's game. They're going to go back to the freaking hotel and be asleep by 10. Like, it's not the same thing at all that this situation was. So I'm going to give them an out. Obviously, whatever the coaches are saying, listen to them. But me personally, I'm not too stressed about it. I thought it was cool what Brinley did, though. And Vic Valdez had a big hit as well. She's heating up. A couple of takeaways.
Yeah, my takeaways from Game 3 was I was kind of the same thing. I mean, yeah, the loss and then the sunburn obviously hurts, but
God.
yeah,
Sunburn. You can't say I'm a lobster.
lobster. But other than that, yeah, I'm kind of giving them an out as well. I mean, it was probably a late night. Even Glasgow was talking about all the things that he still had to do and go eat dinner with and visit all the people, and he wanted them to celebrate. But I mean, we had already clinched the Big 12 thing, and Kinsey Brown was doing her thing. But yeah, shout out to Brinley in this. We got to see pretty much, other than Bailey Lindemuth, who's mainly third base, we got to see every pitcher in this. And Brinley, by far, 3 strikeouts, and as you said, 0 earned runs. Good job. And then I think the coolest story about playing Brinley in this match, if y'all didn't know, Olympic gold medalist Kat Osterman, who played softball at Texas, got to Lubbock because she coached Brinley in her, I think, travel ball. She's Brinley's pitching coach, whatever. So she got to go to Lubbock, Texas again. She probably had to play here several times. She got to go see the improvement. I think Glasgow also coached Kat Osterman, but Kat Osterman got to go there, got to see Brinley have this amazing thing. So yeah, we had Olympic gold medalists in the stands in Lubbock, guys, watching this. That's how big our program has already gotten just in the switch of the year. And it's so cool that Brinley gets to be coached by one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and that she had a great little outing there with 2 innings to close it out, even though we didn't get the win. But yeah, interested to see maybe if we use her more, start closing out games. Maybe we see her tomorrow against ACU. Who knows? But I just liked what I saw from her. I think that was solid, and we need to get our freshmen some of these experience and numbers, for later in the years ahead.
We're getting to the point of the year where we might start just seeing a lot of Nyjah and Chloe, if we're being honest. But Sam has had a lot of really big moments this year, and you never know in the postseason. Maybe we need, because Brinley has a little bit different stuff than everybody else. She can really change those speeds on people. It looks like a frisbee going in there sometimes, and they just get frozen. And when she has it working, she has it working. So I don't know why we haven't seen her in a while. Not my place to know that or question it or whatever. But it was cool to get her in there. It made a lot of sense to get her in this game with not just with Kat in there, but again, they wrapped up the Big 12. Let her have her chance to be a part of that series as well, because I think she'll be a pitcher for us hopefully in the future. I think they wanted to use her as a closer, was kind of the idea coming in the year, and then as the season goes, you change plans or whatever. But she looked really good, so great for her to get that done. That was Game 3. Wrapped it up. One last thing on softball. Can't leave here. We've kind of talked about them throughout this show. Gave them their shout out. But the seniors. It was senior day on Sunday as well. We only have 2 of those. That's the other thing. This team, pretty young, really. I have a lot of people that will return next year. Demi Elder, again, she's been here all 4 years of her career at Texas Tech. Had 3 different coaching staffs. And she's kind of been here for all of it. And true Red Raider for life. Just plays with a lot of joy. That's what I remember about Demi, and we put a clip on Twitter, and that's I don't know, that's the first thing I think of. That was like my first introduction to this player is hilarious. She's clutch. We're gonna like her. And she was a sophomore that year, and she had kind of she didn't do a lot of her freshman year, so sophomore year was when she really started breaking out. First year under Coach Snyder when he was here, and she hit the home run to set the school home run record for a team that year in 2023. She was the one that hit that home run. She made a really great catch to end the game as well right after that in the field. And then they were interviewing her after, and they douse her in water. And, the first thing that she says is, I just got a fake tan. And then she goes back talking about how much she loves her teammates and so much. And I don't know, that's just Demi to a T. Just plays a lot of joy. Is just a happy-go-lucky player out there. But, man, she is a minute. She's so clutch. She's walked off games against Baylor, Oklahoma State, walked it off to win the Big 12 just now this year. Like, there's so many big Demi Elder moments throughout her career, and we talked about that leading up in the season. Like, man, I can't wait for Demi to get back. And we said on the show, like, I know maybe some of y'all don't know who Demi Elder is. I remember having this conversation with you guys because we're like family because we talk so much. I don't know who's watching this right now, but you've been here with us throughout. And I remember on an episode a long time ago, earlier in the season, being like, I know we got parents from these new players or maybe new fans that haven't watched this team. And like, maybe you don't know who Demi Elder is, but she's back now and you're about to learn who Demi Elder is because she's clutch, whether it's just a simple putting down a bunt, getting a big walk, or getting a big ya-boom like that. She's just that kind of hitter, and I'm going to miss her. If we can get her a magical 5th year of eligibility at NCAA, let's do it. So that's my Demi Elder spiel. We'll talk about Alexa next, but what do you got on Demi?
Yeah, super proud of Demi. Like I said, she even had that injury that she suffered around like fall ball that she was having to recover from. So for her to come back in the middle of the season and to just like go back to just doing Demi Elder things, like, you know, she was getting really close to breaking it open with a home run, it seemed like every game. And then Arizona, she had that clutch moment, and then she had the clutch moment against Arizona State to send us to the Big 12 championships. And yeah, I remember watching Demi last year, and she was doing great for us her sophomore year, freshman year, all the things. And I just really appreciate her for sticking it out. I mean, going through 3 coaching changes, and you're like, I love Texas Tech University and Lubbock that much. I mean, I do, but I know there's some other people that are really flaky and they'll be like, oh no, like we want to leave, we want to go do other things. Demi said, like I'm a Red Raider for life. I'm going to get all the degrees I can here and use up all my eligibility. And I just appreciate that about her. Yes, she is. So I really appreciate that from her. Super clutch player. She's going to be one of those Red Raiders for life that we're always going to remember. And it's just so rewarding. So glad she stuck it out, and then she got to have that cool moment on Saturday, and now she's a Big 12 champion.
Yeah, for sure. She stayed, and I do want to make it clear, because there were other people that probably wanted to be here from her class of seniors and maybe had to leave because of coaching changes or for mental health reasons. There's a lot that went on during Demi's 4 years here, so I don't want to make that clear. I think other people maybe wanted to be Red Raider for life and weren't given that choice or felt like they needed to leave. But Demi wanted to stay, and she felt like this was a place for her, and she needed to be here, and she stayed, and that's special. And so it's really cool to see her get to have that moment. I just think it's so fitting that she hit that home run, and I have zero doubts that she's going to have an even bigger moment come Big 12 tournament time, come postseason play time. She's about to have some big hit and keep growing and getting more memories as a Red Raider before her time here is up. So we move on to the other senior, a new one around here, and Alexa Langeliers. We're just getting to know her. That's why I hate about one-year seniors. It's like you get to know them and then they're gone. It's kind of sad thinking about it, but really appreciate what Alexa's done this year for this team. She had a little bit of a slow start to the season, maybe like for like a week or two. And we were like, oh, okay, maybe she's going to get it going. And then ever since then, like she's been such a steady point in that in the lineup for us, but mostly at second base. She just seems to make great plays all the time and big plays and big moments. And she's been a great mentor, I think, for Haley Toney as well. I'd love to ask her about that and ask Haley about that, but I'm sure that's been a great help for her. They're like top 10 in the nation in double plays turned, as well as a little duo out there. She's just a tough player. Like, I mean, I knew that from the jump. She had a collision like early in one of the A&M games or something early on. You're like, okay, she's a dog. And then you just saw it again this weekend in the same game. Like, I thought she died, like, twice. I was like, oh, my God, we just lost Alexa. She doesn't have ligaments in her knee. I don't understand how she survived that first collision. Puts her body on the line, gets the tag, and just gets murdered. Somehow the other girl is the one that came out of that getting stitches in her chin. Alexa was fine. She took a little bit to walk it off, and she comes back into that game. And then later in the same game, gets ran over its first base because I don't remember who, but we threw it. The ball was high. And she didn't just let it go. She's like, oh, hell no, I can't do this, but they're going to score if I let it. So she jumps up there, tries to get the ball and make the tag at the same time, gets her arm taken off in the process because the girl was out of the baseline. If she doesn't do that, they don't have to review that because who cares if she's out of the base path? If no one's there trying to make the play, they're not going to call it. She gets us that play, gets us out of a huge inning, wins the game, stays in the game. Just a dog. That's what I'll remember about Alexa. And I'm sure she has some big moments to come. Because she's always been a clutch player. We knew that. I think I said that in her video when we signed her, is Alexa Langeliers is going to be a clutch hitter for this team. And that's what she's been, or just a clutch player overall. And I have no doubt she's going to have some massive moment in postseason play where she hits a huge home run or gets a big hit or gets a big walk or whatever it is or makes a defensive play. So she's great. Seems like she has great energy, great leader. She also had her helmet decorated by Chloe Riasetto at the game, and that was adorable too, with little stick figures of Demi and Alexa on it. Yeah, I wish we had more time to get to know her. Maybe we can. I'll say this: Alexa Langeliers will be on Seeing Scarlet at some point. Maybe it's once she's an alum. See, I don't like to bother them during the season. If they want to come on, they can. But after the season, maybe we'll have her on and let people get to know her a little bit better. But she's a Red Raider for life now too. If you finish your career here, you're a Red Raider for life. Yep. I'm sure she still considers herself a Raging Cajun as well, and that's fair. But she's a Red Raider for life in my book right now. So shout out Alexa.
Yeah, shout out to Lex. She absolutely love whenever she's in our lineup because both her and Alana and then even Demi kind of took the role as like our home run hitters, the freshmen at times. But like we needed Lex's bat, and then when she got it figured out by like week 3, like just huge clutch moments when she can get those home runs in. And then her defense is just so stellar. I love watching her at second base, just doing some amazing catches. Like you said the other day, I mean, that's tough to basically get like trucked twice and still like just pushing through, being an absolute dog. But we knew that because her brother is in the MLB, so we knew that she was an athlete. So I'm just absolutely just so proud of her for coming and joining Glasgow, winning a Big 12 championship. She's already won it in the Sun Belt. Now she got to win it 2 conferences. It's pretty cool stat. She'll lead us in the NCAA tournament, do some great things.
She's never not won a conference championship in her college career. Chill.
That's so cool. Yep, that's so cool. Like she's one of those greats. So we'll see. Yeah. Maybe she'll get all of her stats up in the like the Women's College World Series and then the tournament, regional, all the things, and then she can get a golden ticket. All the things to be hype. Yeah, it'd be so cool. I think they only
give out the golden tickets. He's talking about for the new pro league, by the way, for the non-basket or softball junkies out there. There's a new softball professional league, and they're giving out these golden tickets. I think they're only giving out like 10 of those.
Oh, the pitchers? Oh, okay.
And it's like the first 10 picks or something, but they're going to need more than 10 players. So I could see Lex getting to play pro softball if she so chooses to play.
Right.
We'll see. But, if the NCAA wants to give her a 5th year as well, not opposed.
Come on down.
As well. They never know. No. So we'll see what they got. Big things ahead for both of them. Season's far from over. So that's softball. We told y'all this was going to be a heavy softball episode because they just won the first Big 12 championship in school history in such dominating fashion. And they're not even done yet because that's how early they had it locked up. Tyler, tell them what's next.
Yeah, so tomorrow, your last chance as of now to see your Red Raider softball team at home. We'll probably host, but
I will punch someone in the face if this team isn't host. That's a next week. I will give a pitch next week on why they should host, but
we'll all give a whole presentation.
Warning, NCAA. Yeah, I'll give a PowerPoint presentation. Just after last year, you can never be too careful.
Yeah, anyway. Never can be too careful. But right now, as is scheduled, it is the last home game of the season against Abilene Christian. We'll get to play them again at 5 p.m. tomorrow. The game got moved up an hour. I don't know if they're anticipating bad weather or something like that. So just keep an eye on that. But yeah, come out tomorrow, midweek softball game after work. Even when you get off work and they're still playing, I'm sure you can catch an inning or two. And yeah, you'll get to see, hopefully, you just hit a lot of home runs and we just annihilate the Wildcats, or we get to see players that, haven't got to play a whole lot in. So that'll be a good moment for them. And then this weekend, we play BYU Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because BYU doesn't play on Sundays, all at 6 o'clock our time. And the first 2 games are on ESPN+. The last game, though, it's one of the other nationally televised games. It'll be on ESPNU, so you can watch most likely maybe Nyjah pitch that third game, help us beat BYU. They're 50 in the RPI. I think they're kind of in the bubble, but kind of not in the bubble. They're kind of outside looking in, but they're a good team. And playing in Provo is a tough place to play. We know that from all of our teams.
They play very well at home as well.
They do.
A little bit of a different team there, and they've had some wild comebacks. I'm talking, especially against Utah, like 2 weekends ago.
That was crazy.
That series. Like every game, they were down by 8 runs or like scored 9 runs in the final inning. So they're not out of it. We're going to have to have our pitchers stay on it. And we played some wild games there last year, some like 15. I think we had like 15 runs in a game or something. Demi, I think, had a couple of home runs herself in that. I don't know. I'm sure Reagan and Logan did the damn thing in their own way. So, yeah, it could be some fun scoring games, hopefully on our end. But, yeah, I think a sweep would be nice for RPI reasons, hosting reasons, since we did drop that last game to Arizona State, just to, not give the committee any wiggle room on that host spot. But, again, That's a next week argument. So, yeah, watch them. BYU, fun fact, they do probably, in my opinion, even better than us, broadcast in the conference. Great broadcast.
Oh, yeah. They have like a whole entire
reporters, replays.
Got a whole halftime show, report.
Yeah, they got they do in-game interviews, the whole shebang. It's a very well-ran broadcast. Not an Arizona situation, not to call them out again. It's very, very well done. And you got the mountains in the background. It's beautiful. So
it is.
So travel safe.
And then BYU, some players to watch out for batting wise. They are hitters. They have a batter named I don't even know her first name. Yovia Brittingham. She's a .418 batting average, 18 home runs on the season. Lily Owens has a .394 batting average. 17 home runs on the season for Lindy Milkowski, who has a .355 average, and then Haley Morrow with .320 average. Those are kind of the main hitters. She has 11 home runs on the season. And then as far as pitching goes, their best pitcher, Kason Korth, she has a 2.30 ERA and is 15-5. And then we may see probably Katie Dahl, who has a 2.54 ERA and is 8-5. Yeah, so we'll get to see. We'll get to see those pitchers. We might see Jada Villegas, 3.92 ERA. Yeah, we'll see a lot of them. They'll be trying. They're going to try to get that big. They're going to try to get a win off of us.
Great vibes.
Or two.
They don't quit. They could be down 10-0. They're going to still think they can come back and win, even against Niger. I'm telling you right now, that team does not think they're ever out of a game, and I really appreciate it, the games I've watched. It's really, I like their vibe a lot, so we're going to have to come in. We're the same way. We always think we're going to be able to come back and win a game too, but can't sleep on them for sure. Can't let your foot off the gas with this team. Just roll them if you can by the 5th inning so they don't get to those 7th innings where they can do that magical stuff that they do sometimes. So yeah, that is softball. Wrap up an hour. Now we're going to just speed through the other stuff. Real quick, we're going to move them up in the order because I did just see it. Women's tennis is hosting. It has been announced. For some reason, they haven't put day or time out, but I'm pretty sure when I looked on the NCAA website earlier, it's Friday. So they should be hosting on Friday.
First and second rounds, May 2nd.
Yes, so on Friday they should all be, I guess they played both matches on Friday. I don't know how that works. But anyway, you play both of them. It might be Friday, Saturday. We'll see how it works out. But they got to host. They'll be in town. Make your plans. The time should be announced shortly once they get all that figured out. Travel, logistics, and all that jazz. Get out there and watch them it's right by softball. If you've ever been to a softball game, the tennis courts are right there. There's stands. It is hype. I'm telling you right now, I'd never been, well, I went in college a couple times, but this was different because they were trying to win a Big 12 championship. They were loud. I had people that were at softball and they were texting me like, what's happening over there? Y'all are loud. I'm like, yeah, people are losing their mind. So make plans on Friday to go out to the tennis courts. If we find out what time, we'll share it on social once they get it scheduled. But they're hosting. That's a big deal. They won the Big 12 regular season and tournament championships. They have hosted before. It's not the first time, but it's still a really cool deal. It's the first time in a long while, though, that they're hosting. Probably 2017. So when they last won the Big 12. So they're fun. I think they could definitely get out of this round being the host and as good as they are. And then who knows what could happen after that. So that's women's tennis. Let's keep doing the damn thing. Let's go win another championship.
Let's go.
They're going to be the underdogs, as they say. The SEC, I was talking to the head coach about it. The SEC is pretty stacked, but we don't think that there's anybody we can't beat. They really do believe that they can beat anybody, and I love that. And they mean it. I could see it in their eyes when they said it. They were not just joking. Like, they truly believe they can beat anybody, and they're a scrappy bunch. You've heard us talk about it. I think they only have one ranked player on their whole team, and they just keep beating people. And they're like in the 90s.
No, it's hype.
Like, they're like in the 90s. I think it's Kate that's in the 90s. They have a good doubles team, and then they have solid singles players. They're fun. Get out there on Saturday or Friday and watch them do that. I will definitely be there if the weather allows us to. Hopefully, it's a weird week. That would be frustrating, but we're going to pretend like it didn't happen. So that is women's tennis. Be there. Lady Raiders. We did a whole video on her. Julie Nakulna, hopefully I said that right, was signed by the Lady Raiders earlier in the week. Whole video on YouTube. You can find it, probably the one before this. First team NJCAA, JUCO for short. All-American, a 6'3" forward from Shelton State. Moves pretty well for her size. If she can toughen up, if she can get a little more grit to her game to be able to play in the Big 12, she has the skills to be a mismatch problem. We talked about that in our video. My thing is she just has to get a little tougher. Just real quick, the quote from Gerlich on her is... That's weird. Okay, hold on. For some reason,
I have it pulled up.
Okay, good, because her article has Mimi on it for me.
Oh, okay. Quote, Gerlich said, quote, Julie is a winner. This past season, she led her Shelton State team to the NJCAA National Championship game. Her basketball IQ is off the charts and is a mismatch problem at the forward position. She provides us another rebounder and efficient finisher at rim. Julie is a special person, and we can't wait to share her story with Lady Raider Nation. That's what Coach Gerlich had to say.
She does. I like the high basketball IQ thing. I can't speak to that if that's true or not, but I trust that that's true. Maybe that's a part of the evaluation process this year. I'm not saying we haven't had players with high basketball IQs in the past. It's hard for me to know that for sure. But I am saying when we've watched them, you've heard us talk about, like, why are we not rolling there? Why are we not reading and reacting there and these things? So I wouldn't be shocked if that was high on the list of, if they don't have this, we're not going to go after them this year because we need to have whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying that makes sense that that's something she would mention based on watching them in the past. So I like that. Just has to get a little bit tougher. And that could happen. Someone, as we say about Jalen Bristow, maybe punch her in the face before the game and we get them both to get a little bit tougher, a little bit meaner out there on the court to fit in the Big 12, and we'll have a good little duo there at the 4 spot. But they did also sign another 6'2" forward. Haven't even done a video on her. I wouldn't call it breaking news because it's already been announced, but you're hearing us talk about her for the first time on this show. We'll do a full video at some point. Maybe we'll combine it with someone else's. We'll get it out there for y'all eventually. But Mimi Sonogo, Miriam is her full name. Mimi, I believe for short. Sonogo sounds familiar to you. Yes, that is the sister of Sarah Sonogo, who is on the team currently and basically was our starting 5 player. One of the best shot blockers in the Big 12 last year was her sister. They both played at Odessa College previously 2 years ago together and then kind of split up this past year and went to different Division I schools. Mimi comes from Canisius, I believe, is where she was this last year. Yes. I think it's up in New York area, something like that. So where she played, and now she's coming back home. I think she's another depth piece, good rebounder. We haven't gotten to pull video on her and look too close at her, but we had heard that she was probably coming around, so it looked a little bit. I liked her rebounding numbers, I won't lie. Had a decent, she had almost a double-double against the top 25 Illinois team when they played. Had solid rebounding numbers against Penn State. She rebounded well in her power conference opportunities, and rebounding is an energy thing and a strength thing. And so at minimum, she's going to get out there and rebound the damn ball. If she gets put in the game, she's definitely going to be a player in practice that we're going to have to block out. So I like that. Yep. If nothing else, she's going to force our players to learn how to block out in practice, and she's going to piss them off in practice all the time because she has a high motor, I believe, from what I understand. We'll know more when we watch tape on her, but I've seen her play a little bit because last year we picked up Sarah and another player from Odessa, that team, and so I did watch her games. And I remember she had a pretty good game in their Elite 8 JUCO tournament game, NCAA national tournament. She was the one that had a really good game because I was like, oh, who's this other player? Because I was watching Sarah at the time, and it was actually her sister that was having a pretty good game in that one. So anyway, that's kind of my quick initial thoughts. Again, we'll do a big video on her, but energy player, she'll rebound, tough, good practice. I don't want to be mean when I say end of bench player, but every team needs those players, and if they steal a job from you or outwork someone else to rise their way up, by all means, go for it.
Yeah. I think that two of these additions, like you said, I think that they're going to be huge whenever we're working on, things such as we need to work on rebounding, we need to work on blocking out, and we'll get to see them more like maybe throughout the season, especially in non-conference if we, get our lead up pretty big and then they come in there and see. We definitely lost one of our best rebounders to the portal, so we definitely are going to need people that are going to be out there and willing to, get in there and rebound and be a dog in the paint. So hopefully, especially defensively, rebounds. So hopefully, we'll get to see them do that eventually. But yeah, excited to see. I'm sure they'll put out like practice clips in the summer on the social media or something, and we'll get to see them. Who knows? But yeah, exciting. And I'm really excited for Sarah too. I mean, that's pretty cool to have your sister on the team. Yeah. Have your sister on the team, keeping each other in check.
And they're from France too, and so this past year was the first year they've ever been apart. So I'm sure it's been tough, and I know that's not what people want to hear about. Whatever, we're trying to win games or whatever. But on a human level, just having her sister around is probably nice, and she'll be a good depth piece for us. And go do work. You need players like that. We had a couple of players like that leave, kind of those players that were for us to go get more playing time elsewhere. And so you need to fill those roles on this roster. They still have a lot of room to work. I think maybe 10 people on the roster. I keep losing count because we'll see who is. I think maybe they have 10 or 11 on the roster now. And you can have up to 15. I don't know if they'll use all the spots or not. Some teams are, some teams aren't. So that is your quick Lady Raider update. Again, we'll do a full video on Mimi Sonogo. And if anyone else gets signed before then, they did have a visitor last week. She still is not signed or committed anywhere, so that one's still up in the air. And we'll see if she ends up a Lady Raider. That would be big. And then they also have some other people on the horizon that, when the time comes, we'll talk about. But that's kind of where they're at. Wait and see. I think your major impact players are already on this team, and they need to be putting in the work right now, and I can't wait for them to all have breakout seasons next year because they're going to need to, and it's possible. The talent's in them, but they got to go do the work. So that's the Lady Raiders. Men's basketball, they lost Federico decided to transfer, hit the portal last week. Team wasted 0 time. That's how it works in this world. Replacing him with a solid player in Luke. I think it's Bamboya. I think the G is silent, but don't quote me on that. Great name for a shot blocker, which is what he is. 6'10", rising sophomore, only a freshman. He's British. I'm not even going to try to do an accent. I can't do accents, but he is British. He's from Great Britain. A lot of fans are trying to compare him to Tariq Owens. I don't think that's fair. The shot blocking side, for sure. He could be Tariq Owens someday. He doesn't rebound it as much as Tariq Owens did, so that's the only thing you'll have heard me. I don't like tall people who don't rebound. It's a pet peeve of mine. Maybe it's the washed-up guard in me. You're that tall. But he is blocking shots, so he's not in great position to rebound sometimes. But that is what made Tariq Owens so special. So I think if you're going to compare someone to the great Tariq Owens, who was one of the better Red Raiders ever, only here for a season, but part of a really special team, if you're going to compare someone to him, they got to be him. And so I think he is him on the defensive shot blocking side. But what was so special about Tariq is he also still, even though he's blocking that many shots, was able to get defensive rebounds as well. If he can add that to his game, he could be really fun. But I do, with all respect to Fetty, do think he's an upgrade because he can catch the ball really well in space. And that was something that Fetty, for whatever reason, kind of struggled with sometimes. It would bounce off his hands and stuff. And watching highlights of this guy, game tape of this guy, he is great in the air, on alley-oops, in traffic. I think he'll be an upgrade in that area. But on the rebounding side, he'll have to get a little bit better. That's my quick, dirty review and tape on that guy.
Yeah, I definitely am very excited to see how he's going to translate. Obviously, here, I think that I'm super excited to see that he's 6'10" and just a rising sophomore. So, maybe we can get, you never know at the portal, but maybe we can get a lot of years out of him and he can be a key piece to us, or if the NBA doesn't take him. But yeah, super excited to see that. We need shot blockers. That's good. Love to see swats. Maybe we can make like a BAM poster or something like that, for our block party.
A BAM counter or something. Instead of a strike out counter like you have for Nija. Yeah, he'll be fun for sure. And you got 3 years at least, maybe 4 years with the 5-and-5 rule coming in. in men's basketball, they don't always stay that long because of the pros, but you have potentially 3 years of this guy eligibility-wise to develop him. So not a bad way. I think we definitely wanted Federico back, but everyone has to make choices, and he decided to transfer. Wish him the best of luck. I hope he gets everything he hopes and dreams. I love the guy. He had a great moment in the NCAA tournament. Big fan of Fetty, but these are the times we live in. He's moving on, and so they found someone else. And now we're big Luke Bamboya fans. I move on quick.
Yes.
Hi, Luke.
Big fans.
Red Raider. Don't know you, but we love you anyway. So that hits men's basketball. We'll close this out with baseball. Who won? I think, what is it? Top 2016? Maybe number 16 or number 15. Arizona was in town. And we beat them, Tyler. We won the damn series. Won the first game.
We did.
Dropped the middle game. Who cares? Won the last game. You were there because you had to work the games.
I was there. Yes.
So what would you let us know about baseball?
Yeah, we won the first game 12-3, and it was really, vibes were really high. I was really happy because softball had walked it off, and then shortly after that, baseball was just, it was just like home run after home run, hit after hit. Like everybody was doing their job. Logan Hughes came up clutch in that game. Pitching looked a lot better. Obviously, we're letting a very good Arizona team that has some big bats only have, in total, this whole entire weekend, they only had about 8 runs, which that's pretty impressive to hold them down to that when they're a top 16 team in the country. The second game, we lost 1-2, but the pitching was stellar in that game. Absolutely, like both sides, everybody was doing their job. It seemed like that no one was going to get running, and then we actually led for a little bit, but then Arizona was able to get lucky, and they got like some weird like double or some home run that happened. But then Sunday we came along and we decided, we're going to go out, we're going to win this again. Pitching came up huge and won 9-3. So even though last weekend baseball wasn't able to get it done against Arizona State when we wanted to piss off the state of Arizona, our teams did that this weekend in Texas. We pissed off Arizona State for softball and Arizona for baseball. So now we're all living happy, and Arizona's not. So there we go. Win-win in that situation. But shout out to baseball.
We went 3 of 4 between softball and baseball the last 2 weeks. 2 against Arizona and 2 against Arizona State, right? My brain?
Yeah.
Just crossed.
Yes, just crossed.
I'll take it. 3 of 4 from the Arizona schools. Shout out baseball. I said this last week on the show, and I meant it, and some people laughed, but like they genuinely, this is stats. Stats are stats. Last week were the hardest schedule in the nation. Like, that was a fact. I think it's number 2 now. In the whole nation, strength of schedule, Texas Tech is second. Like, they play the second hardest schedule in the nation in baseball. So, while they're not dominant, there's levels to this. They're not a Big 12 contender. I don't think they're as bad as people are pretending like they're like this dog team, dumpster fire of a team, because they're losing these games as badly as they are. They just have played a really hard schedule. Right. They picked a tough year to play such a hard schedule when they didn't maybe have that top of elite pitching that you really need, and so that's gotten them in trouble. But when they get pitching, you saw it. That's a top 20 team. They got good pitching this weekend in 2 of those games, and they won. That's all they're missing. If they can just get consistent pitching, they got a lot of work to do to make the postseason because they're like still 7 games below 500, aren't they? Like, their record's not great. But they have played basically the hardest schedule in the country, and sometimes that's great. Sometimes it bites you in the butt. This year, it's put them behind the 8 ball a little bit. We'll see if they can keep it going. Maybe they'll get some momentum going. Probably some changes that need to be made there after the season if they really want to compete. But it doesn't mean you can't finish strong. Get it going, that'd be hype. So
let's do it.
Yeah. That is what we got. That's pretty much the gist of sports this week. Getting ready. Big 12 for track is coming up soon. Getting around the corner, we'll have that. It's up in Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh, Micah is back. We knew, we kind of hinted at it.
We forget?
Yes,
how could we forget? That was before your time, but Micah is a friend of the Seeing Scarlet podcast. He posted a picture one time in his living room with Seeing Scarlet on in the background and posted it, gave us a shout out on Twitter. It was a big moment for Seeing Scarlet back in the day. That was Micah. So we've always been a fan. I've exchanged a couple of messages with that kid on Instagram. He seems like a really good kid. I don't even want to call him a kid, but he's young, college. He's a grown man, I suppose. He's 18, 19. But it's a tough time in your life. We've all been there. A lot of things. thought his post was really classy. Kind of took ownership of making the mistake to leave in the first place, and that he's learned a lot about himself. And we'll see. I don't know if he's even... it could be a walk-on situation, if I'm being honest. He's no longer king of the totem pole. I'll tell you that much. He had to come back, and he's going to have to work his way up, and I think that's good for him. I think this will be good for him. I think this is where he needs to be, personally.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree.
For his
and
own
I think that he
personal
has...
development.
For sure. And I think that he has such a bright future ahead of him as well. He just has to get in the work, talk to his mentors, just get led in the right direction. I'm glad Joey gave him a chance. What is that ESPN documentary they always make? Maybe we'll get one from Micah Hudson. Yeah, 30 for 30. Maybe we'll get one on Micah Hudson whenever we win the national championship. What if I told you?
What if I told you the number one recruit in football history would leave the school, go to one of your most hated rivals, and come back 2 weeks later, then help the team win a national championship? What if I told you?
We'll see.
It
could happen.
We'll see. I think the main thing is I think the team as well. Shout out to the captains. I assume that they would all have to approve that kind of thing, and they're welcoming him back. And we all make mistakes and choices, and I can't even imagine with all the different people in their ears nowadays with NIL and people telling them that they should be here and there, and then once you get there and you realize this is not home, I miss where I was. You know, it's not easy to make the decision to admit you were wrong either and come back. So there's a lot of that. We'll see what works out. He's going to have to earn his spot, his playing time, and we'll see if he does. But I think that's a much better position. A lot of less pressure on him to play. He's going to have to earn it. A lot of less pressure on the coaching staff as well. Expectation should be just another guy happens to be just another guy with 5-star talent, though. So we'll see. Shout out Micah. I wish him the best. You never know what people are going through. I think it's cool that I don't want to call it an apology, but more like an accountability letter to the fans. He didn't have to do that, but I thought that was cool. So shout out him.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to him. Exciting stuff that's ahead for all of our sports.
No doubt. Congrats again, Texas Tech softball.
Woo!
Love you.
Let's go
get out,
softball.
watch them. If the weather holds and they get to play tomorrow on Tuesday, go out and watch them just in case the NCAA is silly. But hopefully they'll be back in the postseason. Watch them on TV this weekend. Tennis, get out there on Friday. NCAA tennis. I think it might be like the only thing in town, or is baseball in town this weekend? I'm really not sure. Excuse me. Is baseball in town this weekend?
I think...
Check the schedule.
Yeah, we don't know.
Go to baseball, watch baseball, let them keep it going, keep an eye on track and all the things. We'll do some videos on the latest.
Oh, they're playing tomorrow against UTRGV at 1 o'clock.
Yes, yeah. I knew they had a midweek.
Yeah, they have a midweek.
They have another one on. They have one on Wednesday as well. I just didn't know what they were doing this weekend, but.
Oh yeah, they're playing. Then they have another one on Wednesday, and then they go at West Virginia Friday through Sunday. So Morgantown.
We can never have them be. I'm never going to get to a baseball game because they're always here when softball's here, but it's fine.
Right.
Because our schedules. I know that wasn't our school that did that. It's the Big 12, but come on.
Right.
Out here. Anyway, that's what we got. Until next time, y'all. Y'all know the drill.
Wreck 'em.